welcome back to my channel. Today's video we're going to be doing a little baby update. So I wanted to film every trimester and kind of talk to you about how the trimester went and all that stuff, because when I was first discovering I was pregnant, especially obviously my first trimester, at the very beginning I was very curious. I didn't know what to expect and all the things to come with it. So I wanted to film this video so that if any of you are pregnant or you just want to learn a little bit more about my pregnancy, you guys can go ahead and watch these and get a feel for it. We are already in our second trimester. We're already 20 weeks. We're actually 20 weeks today. So this is my belly. Very exciting stuff. If you guys want to see more belly updates or anything like that, then definitely check out my Instagram. I will have everything down below as well. Links, you guys can go ahead, click on it and go check it out. We're just gonna get into it. I have this little book that I started when I first found out I was pregnant. So it is this little book here. I just got this at the dollar store and it says, "Today is the day." And it just has blue and gold polka dots all over it. I didn't pick blue for any specific reason. We don't know what we're having. Still at 20 weeks, we're not sure what we're having yet. Hopefully we find out soon, but yeah, I just got this little book. I thought it was cute. There wasn't any like neutral ones that I liked or any pink ones that I liked either. So this is my little pregnancy journal. I know they have some journals available, but when I was looking, I didn't really see any that I liked or that I wanted to have. So I kind of just started with talking about my pregnancy. I wrote the book as if like baby's gonna read it one day. So yeah, I'm just gonna kind of go through and talk you through my first trimester so that we get a feel for how I was feeling and everything like that. I want to preface this by saying my pregnancy overall has been amazing. I've been super blessed not to have any like super bad symptoms or anything like that. So I'm very grateful for that. But I just wanted to let you guys know that at the beginning, because if you're looking to see how I dealt with morning sickness or anything like that, luckily I didn't go through any morning sickness or anything, so I won't have any tips on that. But I still wanted to film this because when I first found out I was pregnant, I had some cramping and stuff like that, and I had no idea that that was normal. I do have sisters that have already had children and are currently pregnant as well, so that makes it a little bit easier for me, but I still made note of everything I was feeling. And yeah, so let's just get into it. Right off the bat, I wrote in here kind of like how I was feeling when I first found out I was pregnant. I was very crampy and super sleepy and very hungry. So I found myself feeling really unmotivated at the beginning of my pregnancy before I knew I was pregnant. I couldn't figure out why. For some reason, I just had no motivation. I was so tired all the time. And around the time that I was supposed to get my period, I started getting cramps, which I thought was normal. I was just gonna get my period, but surprise, there was a baby. So yeah, we just I just wrote that down because I remember feeling that when I had first done the test. So some signs before I actually found out I was pregnant was that I was craving foods that I do not crave. So I was really craving fish and chips, which is super weird for me. I'm not a fish and chips person. But I was really craving fish, and we went and got fish, which was super weird, but we didn't really it was just a weird thing. We didn't think anything of it. And then I randomly felt sick on the way to Blue Mountain when we were going for our anniversary trip in the new year. We were heading there and I felt really sick. So I felt like really hot all of a sudden, and my body was obviously just reacting. It could have been from something I ate and the baby just didn't like that, or it was just early pregnancy symptoms, but I had no idea. But I was like, what the heck, why am I feeling like this? Why do I feel so sick? Like I didn't have anything out of the norm that day that would make me feel sick. And obviously I didn't get my period and I felt really different. So those were kind of my first indicators, signs that I may be pregnant, but we kind of were just like, haha, yeah, right, you're not pregnant, no big deal, and moved on from it. Because we really didn't think we would get pregnant so quickly. So continuing on into my first trimester, I felt super not pregnant and my clothes pretty much still fit me. Everything, like a little bit tight, a little bit uncomfy in the belly, but I didn't really have a belly or anything to show off or anything like that, and nobody knew at that point other than our family, so it was good that I didn't have a belly to show off. So I felt not pregnant, I had cramps, I felt a little bit nauseous, but that was only when I would like brush my teeth. Just like random little things would make me feel sick, but I never actually threw up. I did one time, I got a really bad migraine. I did throw up from that, but that was just because my migraine was really bad and I couldn't take anything because I was pregnant. But I wouldn't say that that sickness was caused from pregnancy. And my headaches actually were reduced a lot compared to what they were before I was pregnant. Before I was pregnant, I used to get headaches all the time, like really bad. And since I've been pregnant, knock on wood, I have been really lucky not to have very many headaches, which is amazing. Especially with our Canadian weather, it's kind of like all over the place. And this is the time when my sinuses would really bother me and I would get really bad sinus headaches, but we have been really good so far. So some of my cravings at the beginning of pregnancy were buffalo chicken fries, which we had yesterday actually. Grilled veggies or anything like that are my go-to. If I'm like wanting something kind of salty for dinner, I'll do that with some rice. And I was so thirsty all the time. I'm still pretty thirsty. I drink a lot of water anyways, but at the beginning of my pregnancy, like I could drink a whole gallon of water and still feel thirsty. I was just thirsty all the time. And yeah, that was before we saw our baby. So before we got to see our baby, it was really scary. I think most pregnant people feel that way. It's scary knowing that you're housing another human and you have to keep it safe, and obviously you don't want to do anything wrong, and yeah, you just want to keep it healthy, happy, safe, and hope that your body is able to carry the pregnancy to full term and all that. So at first, I never really got the confirmation that we were pregnant anyways. So that was already something that was like making me a little nervous. We told our family we had a positive pregnancy test. We did 2 pregnancy tests that were positive. Oh, sorry, I just yawned. So we did the HCG test and it did show that we were pregnant, but I never had a doctor officially tell me like, congratulations, you're pregnant. So it was kind of my interpretation of the results. So for me, I was a bit nervous that like, what if we interpreted it wrong? What if for some reason we're not pregnant? Yada, yada, yada. Obviously didn't get my period or anything, but I was still very nervous and anxious about the whole thing. Obviously super happy. I wasn't anxious or nervous about the fact I was pregnant. I just wanted to make sure that I was pregnant and I was doing all that I could to make the pregnancy healthy and happy for the baby. So this is at 6 weeks now, where I am in my little journal here. I've been very sleepy and bloated, I wrote. Not much has changed, still craving veggies and rice. We got lots of Mexican food, like there's this place in town for Frijoles that we go to, so we got that a lot. And still very thirsty all the time. For me, like I said, I never really had bad symptoms. Some things that I did experience was like I would feel really dizzy at times. I would feel just like really tired, or I couldn't do things to my full potential, which is totally normal, but I wasn't used to that obviously. So doing certain things, I would get really exhausted quickly, or I would feel dizzy and need to sit down. So those things were kind of like kicking my butt at that point, but overall still a very happy pregnancy. So my tummy was a little crampy and my head just hurt a little bit. That was it for that day. So on February 1st was the day that I actually got sick with my migraine and didn't feel well. And I wrote that I hope that doesn't happen often, and luckily it didn't happen often. Like I said, every pregnancy is different. Everyone's body does different things, but it didn't happen. It actually hasn't happened again. So on February 4th, we were a blueberry, and that was 7 weeks. I wasn't really craving much at all. Not that I wasn't hungry, I just wasn't craving a lot. And at the beginning of my pregnancy, I found that the amount of food that I could eat of like portion size was a lot smaller than what I was used to, which was really weird because I was hungry a lot of the time, but when I would sit down to eat, I couldn't eat as much as I used to. That definitely went away later on. Again, I still had a little bit of cramping, nothing major, always bloated and feeling super sluggish all the time. And at this point, we still didn't know what the baby looked like in our belly. So we hadn't heard the heartbeat or saw the baby on the ultrasound. So we thought maybe there was 2 in there. Turns out there's only 1. Okay, so this is the day before we went for our first appointment. So I was really nervous about my first appointment, by the way. I think I already said that, but I feel like most women probably are. It's a scary time. It's the first time you're seeing your baby, so you're so excited, but also you want to know everything's okay. This is our first, and I didn't know how my body would react to being pregnant or how I would carry or anything like that. I've heard so many people struggle with different things during pregnancy, so I wanted to be sure that everything was good, but I was also super nervous because you never know. Very minimal symptoms still. Symptoms that I have, my boobs were really big and super sore. My nipples were really uncomfortable. Sorry if that's TMI, but I feel like that's something to note when you are pregnant. Like if somebody accidentally brushed by me and hit my boob, I would like want to cry. It was that bad. I obviously felt really tired and run down because I'm growing a child. I had no motivation, less appetite for big meals, which I already mentioned. I did a lot of snacking. I always snack, but even more so. Symptoms that are common that I don't have would be the morning sickness, the food aversions, extreme fatigue, and food cravings. So I didn't have extreme fatigue, I was just tired, but I could manage my day and just go to bed early. I wasn't like sleeping all throughout the entire day or anything like that. Some days I would take a nap here and there, but it wasn't too much. And then the next day is when we got to see our little nugget, and I put a little Polaroid of the ultrasound in there. So we both all feel like it's boy, except for Gigi, she says girl. Doctor says the due date is September 29th, and that was pushed back a week than what we originally thought because we didn't actually have a date of conception that we knew about. So obviously that got pushed because they just went off the size of the little baby. And yeah, the picture is crazy. It's literally the smallest thing in the world. And it looks like there was 2 in there at the time, but I made sure to ask and see if there was. And it wasn't. We went to our first midwife appointment and all that. Nothing really happened at the midwife appointment. We just kind of had a consultation. Okay, so on March 15th, I did another pregnancy update. So I still feel super good this time. My belly was slowly growing, but not yet fully showing. We have a while to go, I wrote. Cravings, salty salads, and just overall very hungry. Symptoms are acne. That's when I started getting bad acne. I don't have super bad acne overall. It is just on certain parts of my body. So at this point, I was getting acne on my back, arms, chest, and neck, and a little bit on my face. For that, I don't really have, I just have these little dots on my back. They're not acne, they're literally looks like chicken pox or something. So I have these spots on my back, but my shoulders, my one shoulder has pretty bad acne that I'm still trying to cure. I did have some on my chest, but that went away. And now what I'm suffering with is on my neck and my face. But during the first trimester, I did just have like blemishes here and there. My breasts were large and heavy. Oh, I put smelly. So I felt like my deodorant wasn't doing as good of a job as it used to. But yeah, so those were just things that I wanted to take note of. Not too many symptoms during pregnancy, little nausea when brushing my teeth, headaches from the weather, and that was it. And I was 11 weeks at that time. That's baby. That was a movement.
Like this before, and now it's so weird, so much movement, but I don't feel it. Yeah, it's still tiny, so yeah, it's okay.
We got the ultrasound. We heard the baby's heartbeat, which was awesome. And that was the last update in the first trimester, I believe. So overall, first trimester I think was really good. I didn't have anything too crazy happen to me. I did end up getting a Doppler. I did have a hard time at the beginning finding the baby's heartbeat with the Doppler on my own. Obviously, as the baby gets bigger, it gets much easier. So now when I place the Doppler on my belly, I can find it right away. I think that the Doppler is super handy, especially if you're a first time mommy and you want to make sure all the time that your baby is safe. In my second pregnancy, I feel like I won't be as nervous because I'll know that I was able to carry a baby safely and everything was okay. But I am still very paranoid, even to this day. Overall, the pregnancy has been amazing. I haven't had very many symptoms, which I've been lucky. And my first trimester was a lot easier than most people's that I've heard. And I'm super grateful for that. But I just wanted to share with you a little bit of what I put in my book here, of kind of how my first trimester was going and all that. My first trimester was from December 24th to March 23rd. So up until January, we had no idea that we were pregnant. So I obviously didn't start writing anything in here of what my symptoms were or anything like that because I really didn't have any. I don't find that I started looking pregnant until kind of recently. I don't think I've popped yet, but I definitely have a bump, which is super cute and exciting. When we first announced our pregnancy, I had the tiniest little bump. I just looked bloated, and then from there, of course, it started growing more and more and more, and now it is to the point where it's definitely noticeable. If I'm wearing my maternity clothes, it shows it off a lot more. Some days the belly looks bigger, some days the belly looks smaller, and some days I just feel bloated. I think that is going to be it for my first trimester. I hope this video wasn't too random or sporadic. I kind of just went off of what I wrote in my book and the things that I remembered because my first trimester flew by. I watched a bunch of videos to try to figure out, like, I'm in my 5th week and I feel this way, or I'm in like my 6th week and I feel this way. I couldn't figure out why nobody had videos like week to week on their pregnancy. It's because 1, the weeks go by so quickly, some things don't change. And 2, whatever you're feeling is usually very normal. Of course, if you have like super strong pains or anything like that, there's things that you should consult the doctor about. But overall, everything that I was feeling was normal, and my family reassured me that everything was okay. And of course, when I went to my appointments, they also told me everything was good. So that's why you have those appointments, is to make you feel more comfortable. And yeah, I couldn't figure out why people didn't have week to weeks, but now I understand, being further along in my pregnancy. Time flies by and things don't change much until you look back and you're like, wow. But yeah, overall, first trimester was amazing. Second trimester, still amazing, but we'll have another video on that when my second trimester is over. Yeah, I think that's everything. So I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for a lot more baby videos to come and lots more pregnancy updates. I love you, and remember to always be nice to people. Bye.